Hello, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're super happy to have Jeremy and his firm back, Revere Partners, for a second time, talking more in depth about the opportunity. And we also have some guests that can shed some light on why they've invested and one of the portfolio companies as well, why they're part of the investment uh, of Revere Partners presently. So just be mindful that we'd love to have your questions. Just post them in the Q&A or the chat box as they come to mind, and we'll get to as many as we can. And then we're going to record this and post it to the Family Office Insights YouTube channel if you'd like to share it with others. And after hearing what you hear today, if there's others that you think would benefit from knowing about the opportunity, please feel free, and we'll put you in touch directly with Revere. So, Jeremy, thanks for being here again today. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Arthur, for the opportunity. It's wonderful to work with you and the Family Office Insights group. Thank you to Wendy Kraft for connecting
Totally.
us and
Yeah.
collaborating with us. What a great advisor she has been and friend in the family office industry. Welcome everybody. I'm here today to talk about Revere Partners. We are really leading the wave of innovation in oral health. We're here to talk about something everybody has one of, which is a mouth, and something that everybody does at one point or another in their life cycle of healthcare, which is go to the dentist, and what that technology enablement and therefore investment opportunity really looks like. So we'll go to the next slide. Yeah, so just standard disclosures as well before we go ahead and get started. Of course, there are estimates and forward-looking statements in this deck. There are also no guarantee, of course, from past performance of future success. These are all standard venture capital disclosures that we have to make. So thank you for understanding those. In terms of our mission, we really have a threefold mission. Our threefold mission on the next slide is one, we want to redefine healthcare to include oral health, right? Arbitrarily, by predecessors of us in the industry today, it was decided that oral health care would be sort of a separate specialty. It's our job to treat not just the mouth, but the whole body. And that's really how the profession works today. Secondly, we want to make care affordable and accessible to everybody. Whether or not you have dental insurance, whether or not you're near a dental practice, whether or not you need a little bit of work done or a lot of work done, we want to make oral health care accessible. And last but not least, we want to make advanced science and industry in the technology. Science and technology within the industry. This industry is very innovative. It is very, very good at producing intellectual property. We do clinical research and write peer-reviewed journal articles and publish them. We file patents at the United States Patent and Trademark Office, right? But getting those technologies to the stage of innovation, iteratively designing them to a product market fit and business model that works, and commercializing those, the stages of innovation and commercialization, is the job of a really well organized ecosystem and investment body. And that's what we represent, Revere. We'll go to the next slide. I want to tell you a little bit about the dental market and the opportunity from a high level, from top down. This is a huge care gap that we are addressing, and it can only be addressed through the adoption of technology, right? There are 340 million aging Americans, 73 million boomers effectively. It's roughly 20% of the population, right? We only have 200,000 dentists practicing in the US. We have many retire at a higher rate than new ones join, right? We even with new dental schools rolling on today, there's between 6 and 8,000 dentists that join the workforce each year. There is no way that the number of hands that we have available can treat the baseline population, let alone those that are aging at this same time. There's 150,000 dental practices with roughly 27% of them consolidated into what we call a DSO, or dental support organization, a roll-up. We spend as a nation about 170 to 180 billion dollars a year on dental care delivery, with another 50 billion dollars picked up by insurance premiums, who have largely not been regulated with medical loss ratios, and another 40 billion going to oral care products, things like toothbrush, toothpaste, essential home care products, right? So you're talking about roughly $280 billion a year spent on this industry. It is by no means a small opportunity, although focused. We lose as a country 183 million hours of work due to dental issues and 34 million school hours lost by children due to dental issues alone. If you equate that to work production, that is about $46 billion a year in lost productivity. Folks, 98% of dentistry is treatable or preventable and through dental technology. There's a huge opportunity and a huge care gap for us to achieve. We'll go to the next slide. So, what is the impact that we can have? How can we change people's lives? How can we leave those lives impacted positively and with a legacy that we can all be proud of, right? It's not just about teeth. I'll argue and hope to convince you today that the treating oral health and working in the mouth is about a gateway or treating overall health. So, from a dental disease prevalence perspective, 91% of adults have experience with at least one cavity in their mouth, with 27% of them remaining untreated. Among children, 50% of them ages 6 to 9 have cavities with at least one untreated. Again, these are preventable and definitely highly treatable, even minimally invasively. Periodontal disease, about 70% of adults 65 and older suffer from periodontal disease, irreplaceable bone loss in their mouth, and about 47% of adults, nearly half of adults 38 years, 30 and above, are affected with periodontal disease. These are two of the most common public health crises of the top 10 year after year that plague the United States. From an access and frequency standpoint, 72 million adults in the United States lack dental insurance. They have no ability to pay or have any kind of subsidy on payment. Average dental visit is once every 6 to 12 months, but yet your average primary care visit is only once every 2 to 3 years if you have a primary care physician. So where that leaves dentistry is with a unique point of access opportunity. We represent the first mile of healthcare, an opportunity to catch patients early or begin treatments or diagnostics early in their healthcare life cycle. From a systemic, we've spoken about directly about oral health at this moment, up until this moment, but oral health connects to systemic health, the rest of your overall health. Connecting it in certain ways, beginning to make those connections, Alzheimer's, up to 70% of patients may have gum disease. In fact, we found that there are specific bacteria only found in the mouth that are able to access the blood and cross the blood-brain barrier, precipitating Alzheimer's plaques in the brain post-mortem. There is a unique connection between oral health and Alzheimer's. Cardiovascular disease risk with gum disease, 19% higher overall cardiovascular disease risk and 28% higher heart attack risk. From a diabetes perspective, 22% of people with diabetes have periodontal disease, and some studies report it's greater than 90% of type 2 diabetic patients that are affected. There's a huge opportunity among overall health impact here as well. We'll go to the next slide.
Jeremy,
Yes, sir.
you mind if I just mention something?
Please do.
It's pretty widely accepted that when you go to the ophthalmologist, that there's a established uh, method of assessing risk of overall health by looking in the back of your eyes. This sounds like it's a similar type situation. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. Even a personal use case standpoint, I recently went to the optometrist. They have a new toy that's able to image a larger spectrum of your retina. It was found that I have a macula, a freckle in one of my eyes. They sent me to the retina specialist, the ophthalmologist. They take out even more sophisticated tools like optical coherence tomography that they did over my eyelid to image that freckle, measure it exactly, size, its depth, see if it's growing and track it over time, right? And really able to assess how this might affect the rest of my body from a cancer standpoint, if it did become cancerous or was precancerous, from a blood pressure perspective and how that might impact the overall retina and lattice performance in my eye. So yeah, it's a very similar
Wild.
subspecialty use case that
Wild.
affects the rest of the oral health.
Yeah. Thanks for the.
Thanks, Arthur. So to drive the last point home on the connection to overall health without scaring anybody or making them feel their body here, right? We all have a mouth. It's one of the most chronic diseases dental carries as well as periodontal disease, both among the most chronic diseases per the NIH in the country. And we miss a lot of school and work from doing it. Those connections are Alzheimer's, like I mentioned, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, but they expand to multiple types of cancer, musculoskeletal conditions like rheumatoid arthritis. They open up about a $500 billion market cap opportunity. So if anybody thought that dental was small, it isn't small. It's a big portion of GDP and of overall health. And it is focused in an area where we can really drive end-to-end results as a venture capital firm. We'll go to the next slide. So our fund evolution. We launched our first fund. We found the management company in 2020 and launched our first fund in 2021. Out of it was our proof of concept rolling fund. We deployed over 10 million into over 50 companies and did a similar model with Fund 2, follow-on investments and more expansive investments. We've now invested in a total of 47 companies with over 67 investments made, including reinvestments in those companies. And we've earned an gross internal rate of return of 28.5%. We're now launching our third fund in 2025 with our first close coming up at the end of this quarter with additional closes next year. It's our flagship institutional fund. It's a traditional 4-year track record. We are a close-ended vehicle targeting a $100 million raise. And we'll go to the next slide. So a snapshot of our performance, again, 47 investments. We've had 21 markup events. 21 of these companies have raised new rounds with a higher valuation. We've made 22 reinvestments into our winner portfolio companies with a gross IRR of 28.5%. We've exited 4 companies that we've publicly announced, 3 more that are not yet announced. And we've diligenced now over 1,600 deals. We receive about 3 new deals per day. That's about 65% North America based and about 35% coming internationally. We're a global investor, both in terms of our LP base as well as the investments that we make. And we'll go to the next slide. So Revere's competitive advantage, how are we different? Well, first, we've built this ecosystem on top of, in order for a venture capital fund to exist successfully, especially in a space like ours, a subsector of healthcare, there needs to be an organized ecosystem of innovation. So we built our venture funds, but we also built corporate services where we serve as the main point of contact and service for deals flow and due diligence for a lot of the main global manufacturers, distributors, insurers, DSOs, and other institutions within this field. We have our own syndicate that acts like a private marketplace, allowing companies to raise and investors to invest directly, as well as we've vertically integrated and incorporated the back-end fund administration and investment administration services. This is where we're bringing other investors, angel groups, corporate venture arms, other funds into our space and helping with their back office process, especially as it pertains to healthcare. Our team is world-class. And we'll tell you about them. These are people who are leaders across the industry with decades of experience looking at it financially, technically, operationally, clinically, and every other perspective, right? Our team are the people who you want to trust and know that an investment will not only be fruitful, but that we can end-to-end take it all the way to an acquisition point. Proprietary deal flow. We see deals that others don't see. We get terms and access that others don't get access to because we are the go-to investor in our space. And then last but not least, this is an uncorrelated private market diversified investment opportunity for most people, especially family offices who have not necessarily seen an oral health venture fund prior in a highly protected, insulated space. We'll go to the next slide. So a little bit about our team. I'll first introduce myself a little bit further. I'm a general dentist by clinical background. I don't practice clinical dentistry anymore. Across 3 different groups, I scaled up about 10 practices and sold them. I went into the startup world, first at Oscar Health Insurance, a tech-enabled health insurance company. We IPO'd. I went to Quip, the subscription electric toothbrush company. I'm employee number 8 and the dentist behind Quip. We became a VC-backed unicorn, sold 20 million toothbrushes, and I exited in a secondaries event. I was then part of a company called Simplify. We had a conversion rate optimizing chat service for medical practices and a payments platform partnered with Bank of America. It was sold to NEA Partners, a private equity fund behind another dental pay tech company called Vine. And then 5-6 years ago started Revere. So my arc has gone from clinical dentistry to startup operations to now investor. My co-founder is Dave. He's from the finance world, from Bridgewater and a couple of IPOs under his belt. Dominic, who you'll hear from today, is our chief science officer and is also running a portfolio company. We have a capital formations and originations team, world-class, based in the Bay Area and on the East Coast, coming from various different funds and fundraising processes before. We have an investment team that have all contributed to 2 to 3 other investment teams prior to their experience here, and venture partners that lead the due diligence process on the industry side. We also have a business due diligence process that occurs with the analyst side of the team. These people are leadership. Listen to our other webinar here done with Arthur. Ed Zuckerberg spoke on the last one. He is a 40+ year dentist, Mark Zuckerberg's dad of Facebook. Kathy O'Loughlin has led the American Dental Association for 10 years. Jan leads one of these roll-ups and is an orthodontist and from Harvard Dental School. So you have a world-class team of people. On top of these are 117 advisors who all contribute to those different technical, operational, clinical perspectives. They're based in the United States and all over the world, and they help contribute to the due diligence process. We'll go to the next slide. So we're going to give you the opportunity now to hear from some of our LPs and a board member, Matt Ornstein. He is a co-founder and owner of Fordham Holdings. He is self-made. He is as entrepreneurial as he is investor savvy. He has his hands in a variety of different types of businesses, dental and non-dental related, and has been one of the greatest sources of not only capital but advice to our firm and mentorship to me. So Matt, without further ado, we'd love to hear from your perspective on Revere.
Yeah, thank you. As it says on the screen, I think the most relevant fact is that I do own a DSO, dental support organization, with over 70 dental practices, which we grew from 20 practices to, I think it's at 75 practices now. And I met Jeremy several years ago. I can tell you he's a very, very intelligent guy. Not only is he a dentist, but he has his MBA, very, very intellectual, very analytical. And I've been in the dentistry space now for 4.5 years. I also own a company that sells dental practices. So we're an M&A advisory firm. We broker and sell dental practices and dental groups. So I get to look at the numbers and the financial metrics, not only within my own company, but dozens and dozens of other dental practices and groups every single year. The interesting thing about dentistry, and I'll be quick on this, is dentistry as a whole, as an industry, is way, way behind the 8 ball and behind the curve on technology, AI, and just modern advances that most other industries are either on the cutting edge of or caught up to. So there's an incredible amount of opportunity in the dental space, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry per year. And there are a lot of great companies coming up in the innovation side and the tech side and AI. And Revere Partners does a phenomenal job at finding these firms, vetting them, going through really, really deep levels of due diligence, and then using a very, very carefully vetted selection process, making investments into firms in the dental space that have a lot of upside potential and opportunity, and then also being able to monitor these investments as they go along and continue to raise money. So there's opportunities for a second and third bite at the investment apple along the way, using only privately available information that owners and investors in those companies have. So I've been very impressed with the team. Performance thus far has been great. In my opinion, if you're investing in a private equity type deal and as an investor, you can make 15% IRR or greater. That's in the top quartile. And so far, Revere has delivered. And I think that there's a lot of alpha and upside potential on annual internal rates of return as an investor by investing in Revere's funds, which also give you really great diversification into many, many up-and-coming companies in the dental space.
Thank you so much, Matt, for your contributions to dentistry as a whole, as well as to Revere. We're grateful for you. We'll go to the next slide, and we're going to do a founder spotlight as well. As I mentioned, Dominic wears multiple hats at Revere. He is an LP and board member as well. He is our Chief Science Officer. He is a former founder of a transformative product in dentistry. And he is also the CEO of one of our portfolio companies, PharmaTrail. Dominic, it's my great pleasure to introduce you, and thank you for your collaboration.
All right. Actually, very good timing. I just made it home. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit out of breath. I just came home from a work course. So, my name is Dominic. Thank you for the kind introduction, Jeremy. I'm the former founder and CEO of a product called Curodont, which is, transformative. At least it's practically treating early caries so that you don't drill and fill, but you can actually heal it. I ran the company from 2010 all the way to the exit 2020. The product is today marketed by a company called Vivardis, and they've treated about 1 million patients last year in the US alone. So I spent most and almost all my professional career within the dental sphere, not only in dentistry, but with anything that has to do with, has some touch point with dentistry. PharmaTrail, my new venture, is a clinical trial software, a platform where the audit trail and the clinical data is recorded on a blockchain to make it immutable and to provide trust to the various stakeholders, whether it's regulatory, whether it's business partners, whether it's key opinion leaders. Because I had to find out the hard way that if you, as a small company trying to pitch your product or your company to a corporate, it is all about trust, meaning the trust in the data that you bring. So PharmaTrail is addressing that. Blockchain, just, as a small bracket, it generally makes your audit trail immutable. So therefore, that anybody who looks at the data can actually trust that data. I got to know Jeremy back at the time when I was doing Curodont at my company Credentis via a very good friend of ours who was also an investor in Credentis as well as in Quip. I would say about 7 to 8 years ago. And similar to what Matt said, Jeremy is certainly a very smart guy. He has a vision that he drove with Revere Partners. I like Revere because it really advanced the innovation within the oral care space and at the same time connecting it to the general medical or health space. Because I think one of the key drivers to grow the dental business is to incorporate it solidly within medical care. Jeremy mentioned earlier on that people see their dentist 1 to 2 per year, which actually makes the dentist the perfect place to identify any type of issues that should be follow-up, better than any GP who sees the patients every 2 to 3 years. So there, I was really impressed, first of all, with the companies that approached Revere, the companies that we invested in. Obviously, I'm both a partner in the management company as well as an investor. It is a venture capital company, so it is ultimately about the return. However, it is also the purpose. The purpose in order to advance dentistry, to bring it into medical practice. And for me, as PharmaTrail, Revere decided to invest in PharmaTrail because actually our first vertical is within the dental industry. Because as Matt said before, dentistry is in the need of innovation. And that is also with regards to clinical trials. We need to digitalize those trials because many of the companies that we see are going to be sold on their tech value, meaning their clinical data is going to be their core of their value. And we at PharmaTrail advance or help advance those dental companies. And because it was the first vertical, it fit very nicely into the Revere portfolio. Yeah, with that, I'll give back to Jeremy. I can only say that if you want to diversify your portfolio, I think Revere is a great opportunity to get into oral care, which perhaps many of the classic investment vehicles will not have looked at in such depth as Revere has done.
Thank you, Dominic, as well as Matt, again, for your contributions, your kind words here as well. We're very proud of our LP base and also of our portfolio companies. They help make us who we are, and of course, the lasting impact and change. Probably worth noting two facts before we depart here and talk about our third fund. One fact is that about 70% of our portfolio have applications in other healthcare subverticals. I think that's an important point. They do have to have an application in dentistry and oral health, but they most often serve other areas of healthcare too. And the other is that, again, 65% of our investments are North America based, while 35% are global. In fact, Dominic is Switzerland based. We invest all over Europe, as well as many other nations that have large and developed dental healthcare and healthcare systems. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about our third fund now, the opportunity that we're here to talk about. We'll go to the next slide. So this is our target, $100 million target. We intend to put about 70% of that to new investments and about 30% to follow-on investments. Typical 3 to 5 year investing period, about a 7-year hold. The average data shows that it takes about 4.8 years to get to about a 5.2x. We aim for 4 to 10x. We've been able to increase those numbers well beyond the average. We plan to make about 25 new investments, 30 to 40 with follow-on investments. In mostly Series A stage companies. We'll see them a little before or a little after, depending on the terms that we get. We'll therefore invest about, with a $2 to $3 million average check size up to $5 million. We'll own about 5 to 20%, usually below 25% of the company. They range from $15, $20 million valuations on the low end to about $40, $60 million valuations on the upper end. Of course, they can slide beyond those ranges as well. We'll go to the next slide. So what do we look for in these companies? First, we look for the return to fund analysis, right? We want to make sure, because we see a ton of deals that are highly competitive, we want to see, are they going to return to the fund, right? Not only are they good technologies, not only will their business models work, right, but will they return to the fund? We have a specific way that we do this, and we use a lot of internal benchmarking data. We look at emerging markets, right? So we take a top-down and a bottom-up approach. Not only do we look at all the deal flow, 200, 250 companies that we get per quarter, but we're looking top-down. What segments are we in within oral health and healthcare? Which ones do we want to be in, right? We look at the fund fit. How are we going to be able to help the company, right? It's great, if the company has gotten to a successful point currently, but how are we going to get it to the next stage and the next stage after that? Are we going to be able to work with the founders? Are we going to be able to work to expand the market or expand their penetration within the market, given the resources we have? What is the exit potential? We almost always invest with the exit in mind. We have those corporate clients and private equity funds as our clients and as our LPs. I can't really underscore that enough. We're able to see the end-to-end investment process uniquely by doing that. And most of the exits are to the corporate strategics and to the private equity funds. So it is essential that they are feeding back on our investment process, that they're helping to scale the companies we do invest in, and they are acquiring the companies at their end stage. And then who are the category leaders? Is it a robust category? Is there a single leader or multiple leaders? Are they targeting differently? We need to understand what each segment looks like and its dynamics, and it takes industry specialists to be able to do that. Okay, we'll go to the next slide.
Jeremy,
Yes,
is
sir.
it a fair question to ask you are you only at round B? Are you doing any startups? At what point are you willing to deploy capital?
Yeah, we're typically at Series A stage. Of course, we see them perhaps as, seed plus stage or A plus stage, but there's a bell-shaped curve there. The majority of investments are incepted at Series A stage. So let me qualify that, as I know that there's some variability in the terminology here. So by Series A stage, I mean these companies are largely commercially available, right? We make a few exceptions for what we feel are breakthrough medical devices. But for the vast majority, they are software, fintech, biotech, medtech, and they are commercially available. We will look for them to have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 practices, already sold or under agreement. We'll look for them to be generating 1, 2, 3 million in annual recurring sticky revenue, right? These are some of the typical kind of archetypes of the company. We like to see them where they are sort of micro fracturing internally. What do I mean by that? We want founders who can stretch the value of the dollar. We want them to essentially have the revenue and profitability opportunities lined up. They're unable to meet them because they're at capacity. Their technology is at capacity. Their people are at capacity, right? The thing holding them back from more revenue or profitability is the additional and incremental funding to get there, right? We want to see them at that inflection point along their J curve. That's where we look to jump in, whatever stage that may be.
Having 1,600 companies to look at approximately a year, it's a daunting task that I happen to be familiar with. Uh, is there a 20% of those that are just outright no's because they're too early? In other words, is it easy to skinny that number down? Because that's a lot of companies, right?
Yeah, so we will screen out some companies, right? Companies that are too early stage or too late stage. We don't invest in public companies. We'll scan out dental practices. We don't invest in dental practices. We'll scan out heavy equipment, things that are bolted to the floor or the wall. We largely screen out direct-to-consumer products or products that cut the profession out entirely. So we will have some screening criteria that we take to this in order to be able to focus. But really, it's our industry that dovetails well into this slide, which is that we run a 26-point diligence process that runs across this screening, primary, secondary, investment committee, and investment stages of the process. And we have two different sort of teams that work collaboratively to do that. We have the industry or technical team. This is, investment analysts that are looking at this from a financial perspective, that are crunching the numbers, that are using internal benchmark criteria to understand operationally, functionally, and financially where the company is at, as well as the technical and industry perspective. These are people who are coming from a dental industry, operational, clinical, et cetera, background, and are looking to understand, has this been done before? What will work, what will not work? How will this need to be articulated to gain adoption in the profession? And so on and so forth. We go from screening to this primary diligence phase if both teams agree, right? Well, right there, we're having about a 40 to 50-page diligence report written based on a number of checklist items that they have provided and that we have internally. If it passes to the secondary diligence phase, there'll then be about a 60 to 100-page report written off of a deeper checklist and deeper internal and external benchmark data. It goes to an investment committee with about 24 people sitting on it, from strategic LPs to internal management to senior strategic advisors. And then for the ones that we choose from the investment committee, we then negotiate the investment and do last financial and legal checks. So all things, and I think Dominic would agree with this, all things considered, these companies go through an extremely diligent process by the time an investment is taken.
Yeah, and just a quick diversion here. There's a lot of analysis that that companies are doing by using AI in lieu of a junior analyst. And I know all these people are not junior, they're senior people. And is there an element of AI, just because it's topical, I'm bringing it up, that
Yeah.
is able to help this process along?
Yeah, we're able to see some economies of scale there. We are certainly testing a number of tools on our investment team, as well as on our fund administration team and investor relations team, where we're able to trust it now in terms of the caliber of its results, because we have really high criteria in terms of what is allowable here, is essentially doing grunt work, right? That we would put a person on, but it would be busy work, right? They could do it, but it's a tedious task that would take them more time,
Right.
right? It's pulling out structured data fields and summarizing them, or summarizing long form documents into shorter form, insights or analyses. It isn't doing the sophisticated level of analytics that we need to make a decision. So it's not calculating return of fund analysis or analyzing internal benchmark, criteria against where the company is at. And of course, it's nearly impossible currently to deploy that technology on, some of the softer skills, but that are ever so critical to the venture process, which is we've highly diligenced the team, for example, right? Not only do their backgrounds mesh well with what they're trying to do, but is this a founder we're going to be able to work with? Right? If
Exactly.
things get
Yeah.
difficult for this company or within their particular market segment, are they going to be adaptable? Are they going to be able to pivot? Are we going to be able to guide and coach them to get to a successful result? Are they going to do what needs to be done, even if it's hard, right? To make sure that shareholders see their value and that the company gets to the next stage. So on these more critical items, it really is done internally and stays internally. But at the kind of lowest level of more tedious work that a human could otherwise do, it's just technology summarizes it faster. We are piloting a variety of solutions.
Yeah, that's great. Super helpful. Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide as well. So our current portfolio, the way that it breaks down, these 47 portfolio companies and less than 1% investment rate, we have about 11 of them in software, 7 what we qualify fintech or revenue cycle management. About 16 of them are in scientific and clinical, and 9 in specialty, right? Think orthodontics or implants or cosmetic dentistry related technologies, and about 4 of them in imaging, things that can image your mouth in 3D or can take scans or pictures of your mouth, things along these lines. So we'll go to the next slide. So this is our portfolio. The ones in green boxes are those that have exited. Again, I'll point out many companies are invested in across the world here. Pharmatrel is in Switzerland. Augmented is in the Netherlands. SoSmile is in Brazil. Right, we will invest all around the world into some of the highest technologies that are created. And we diversify them across different applications in both dentistry and overall health. We'll go to the next slide. So just as important as the diligence process is, again, how we work with these companies towards a successful endpoint. After we've invested, these companies need at least these 5 different large areas of support where we have structured resources to help them. They want fundraising. So we have additional funds. We have a syndicate. We have about 8 dozen co-investors that look at them from the top of Sand Hill all the way down to very focused funds that are able to help. We co-invest with Kraft, Bessemer, KP, Khosla. We help them with regulatory or clinical trial or provider validation data. We have the ability to help scale these companies by pairing them with a channel partnership. We don't want to see them hire 25, 50 people sales team, right? We want to see them work with a manufacturer, distributor, insurer to help increase a DSO, to help increase their footprint. We have given them access to about 75 or 80 highly preferred and vetted vendors that are in dental and the healthcare sectors. These are either free or highly discounted to them. And then last but not least, we help position them with the necessary processes and discipline that they need to then articulate them to different exit partners, all of whom we keep under management as well. Okay, next slide. So I want to make the point that it isn't just one of these companies driving our 28.5% gross IRR. We have multiple highly performing companies. Toothio's in the staffing space, obviously in healthcare, has been a huge challenge. Uptime Health is in the equipment intelligence, making sure autoclave, your x-ray unit, your dental chair don't go down, and that you know about it beforehand so you don't lose the productivity in the dental practice. Two Front is responsibly helping general dentists do more complex orthodontic and aligner treatment. They're directly partnered with Align. They always keep the orthodontist in the loop. Pure Logic is conversational intelligence. They've created their own LLMs based around highly sophisticated problems and data that are the conversation between a practice and its patient on the phone, helping to understand what it takes to schedule them as well as to gain production on them. All of these companies have at least reached a 4 to 10x since our incepted investment. Pure Logic is currently our highest performer at a 19x on paper. So we'll go to our next slide. As I've mentioned, exit strategy and opportunities. Revere helps scale these companies and our position within them. Early technology companies, companies whose valuation is largely based on the proprietary technology that they have and the early validation data or approvals or what have you that they have are more commonly sold to strategics. And later stage exits, companies that have crossed essentially the valley of death, they've commercialized their technology. They're now, not only showing revenue but profitability. These are sold to private equity funds. But these are the two most common exit points within the fund. Okay, next slide. So last but not least, the terms of our investment. Revere is targeting a $100 million raise. We have a standard 5-year investment period. We have a standard 2 and 20 fee structure, 2% management fee per year over the life of the fund and 20% carried interest. Follows a European distribution method. All investors have to get paid back their principal and fees before there is any carried interest assessed. There's a minimum for family offices as well as individual investors with approval from us directly, and all family offices get direct investment rights. We highly encourage this type of behavior and co-investment in our fund as well. I think that'll be the last slide. I want to thank everybody for your kind participation and attention in this discussion today on oral health innovation and Revere Partners, the venture capital fund that focuses on dental technology. If you want to reach me, you can reach me at jeremy@reverepartnersvc.com, or of course through Arthur and the FOI group, our partners. And we very much look forward to connecting with you and answering your further questions. Arthur, I'll turn it over to you for any closing remarks or last questions that remain.
Yeah, if it's okay, since we still have Dominic and Matt, if you guys are still there. One of the things that struck me is that Jeremy came out with the inaugural Dentist Health Innovation Fund, right? For argument's sake, I think you were the first one, right? And then others came in. Not to put you, either one of you, on the spot, but how does Revere differ from the ones that has since minted since Jeremy opened up the gates, and why is that important to you?
If I can go first, I think what makes Revere unique is the people, or are the people. Jeremy really has managed to find experts within the various subgroups that he has introduced, so that you really get input from the best people in that particular space, whether it's the IT space in the dental industry, whether it's the scientific space. And I think that is one of the huge assets of Revere.
So help mitigate making bad decisions, deploying capital into wrong companies, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, let's face it, this is high risk capital. However, we, the management company, the advisors, the people that go through the due diligence, the investment committee, it's the job to minimize that risk as much as possible and, pick as many winners as possible. And that, I think, always comes down to the people. I mean, you can use all type of different, tools, whatever. But in the end, it's also the same with those early stage companies. It's, the founders or the personnel in those companies are a huge asset, and so is for Revere. Yeah.
Totally makes sense. Thank you. Matt?
I'm gonna opine on that real quickly. Jeremy and his team have put together an incredible board of directors and board of advisors, which have some of the most intelligent, successful key opinion leaders and leaders in the industry that are involved with Revere. And as someone that owns 75 dental offices, one of the unique things that Jeremy and his team brings to the table is Jeremy and his group have direct access to the CEOs and owners of the companies that are using the services and technologies of the companies that Revere is considering investing in. And I can tell you, as an owner of a DSO, some technologies work great, some are horrible. Some platforms and IT work great, some look good on paper, but they don't scale out across the offices, and they don't work well, and they don't provide a good return on investment. So Jeremy, being a dentist and having an MBA and being very well connected across the dental industry with, in my opinion, like world class, absolute world class board of advisors and board of directors, Jeremy has direct access to the dental groups and companies that are using these technologies and services and products that Jeremy's considering investing in. And after the investment is made, Jeremy's getting real-time, real-life feedback on how these investments are actually working in the real world. Are they solving problems? Are they providing a world-class return on investment for the end user? So I see Jeremy at every conference I go to, Jeremy's there. I speak on stage sometimes in front of 2,000 people at dental conferences. Jeremy's at these conferences. He knows all the right people. He knows the key opinion leaders. He knows the leaders of the industry and the different facets of dentistry. And he's able to get real-time, real-world feedback on the products and services and companies that Jeremy's looking at to consider investing in and investing in. And it's a very, very unique skill set and a competitive advantage if you're looking to invest in dentistry.
Super. Thanks for that. And thanks, Jeremy, for letting me ask that question. And it seems to me like if you invested in a company and you can actually talk to the people that are using it and they can tell you what's wrong with it, right? Or it's working or not working, that's got to be super helpful, right?
It is. Most generalist venture capital funds, which I think give the high risk qualification, or one of the reasons that give the high risk qualification to this space and style of investing, they're unable to necessarily get the entire feedback loop, much less be able to act on it. They're not able to, sort of have an influential or controlling interest in seeing it not only scale, but exit through to the other side, which you are well connected with or are well connected with you, right? And I think that really plays a huge role in mitigating the risk. We really owe everything to the team that we have and the ecosystem that we've built. It's really putting smarter people around the table around you. I'm learning 25 new things per every interaction that I have with these people that have just unbelievable knowledge bases, right? To highlight a few of them, right? You're talking about a guy named Brian Kaleo. He leads the top industry law firm, Dykema. There is nobody who sees more of these transactions or knows more people in the DSO space than him and that firm. Or Bruce Lieberthal, who led as the chief innovation officer of Henry Schein, the largest distributor with access to every dental practice in the nation. Are on this board J.J. Araman, who was a senior executive at Colgate, did all 150 deals over the last 30 years with Colgate-Palmolive. These are just some of the people, and it was my great honor to be president at NYU's Dental School, honoring the Lifetime Achievement Award and its presentation to Stan Bergman, who I sat next to in the recipient, him being the recipient of the Shills Lifetime Achievement Award. So it's these types of people that we spend our time with and ensure, have a connection to early stage oral health technology and technology innovation, that they understand it, that they understand what scales, and that we understand back from them what is going to scale on their end and exit, right? It's these types of industry leaders that work with us through and through.
Awesome. Thank you. Really impressive. So thank you, everybody, for being with us today. We have to wrap things up. Jeremy, thanks for being here again. And of course, Dominic and Matt, super kind of you to spend some time and share your thoughts. It's really important and super helpful. So thank you all. And we'll make sure everybody gets in touch with each other. And Matt, happy to chat. So with that, thank you again. And we'll send the recording over and so forth. And to the group, thank you for sharing with us the only thing you can't make more of, and that's your time. Till next time. Thanks, guys.